Barcelona, Spain. For 143 years, a strange structure has been rising from these streets. It doesn't look like a church, it doesn't look like anything humans have ever built before. The Sagrada Família, started in 1882, is still unfinished. But there's a problem far greater than its unfinished state. No one alive today knows with absolute certainty if what they're building is what the creator intended. 6 generations of builders have worked on its walls, 7 chief architects have guided its construction, 11 Spanish governments have come and gone, and still the cranes remain, the debates rage, the questions persist. When finished in 2026, it will be the tallest church in the world, a masterpiece without equal, but also a puzzle without a solution, because the man who designed it died with most of the plans still in his head. His workshop was destroyed, his model shattered, his vision fragmented. Today's architects make educated guesses, they use AI to extrapolate patterns, they analyze fragments, but the uncomfortable truth remains. No one knows if the Sagrada Família being constructed today is truly the church Antoni Gaudi envisioned. Barcelona, 1882. A city transformed by industry and wealth, yet increasingly divided. The Catholic Church's influence is waning. In this atmosphere, a pious bookseller named Josep Maria Boccabella becomes troubled by what he sees as moral decay. After a pilgrimage to Rome, he forms the Spiritual Association of Devotees of St. Joseph with a singular mission: build a monument to faith that will reclaim Barcelona's soul. Francisco de Paula del Vila is hired as the first architect. His design, a standard neo-Gothic church, identical to hundreds across Europe. On St. Joseph's Day 1882, a cornerstone is laid. The plan? To build the church with donations from ordinary citizens, the people's cathedral. But de Vila and Boccabella quickly clash over budgets. After just 1 year, del Vila resigns. The project needs a new architect, and they choose Antoni Gaudi, 31 years old and largely unknown. Where de Vila saw tradition, Gaudi saw revolution. Gaudi doesn't study other churches for inspiration, he studies nature. He observes how trees support massive weight with minimal structure, how bones distribute force, how natural forms achieve perfect balance. He invents new methods to solve architectural problems, hanging weighted chains to find the perfect forms for his arches, inverted and frozen in stone. Where other architects use simple arches, Gaudi employs complex hyperboloid structures, geometries that wouldn't be used in architecture for another century. Gaudi reinvents the church's meaning with 3 grand facades: the Nativity, celebrating birth, the Passion, depicting suffering, and the Glory, promising resurrection. Not just a building, but a Bible in stone. By 1914, Gaudi has abandoned all other commissions. He closes his office and moves into a workshop at the construction site. The Sagrada Família is no longer just his work, it's his life. June 10, 1926, Gaudi, now 73, crosses tram tracks on his daily walk to confession. He doesn't see it coming. Passers-by rush to help, but no one recognizes him. No identification in his pockets. A cab driver refuses to take the beggar to a hospital. By the time anyone realizes Barcelona's greatest architect lies dying, it's too late. Half of Barcelona turns out for his funeral. The eccentric mistaken for a beggar is now recognized as Catalonia's greatest artist. He is buried in the crypt of his unfinished masterpiece. Now the impossible challenge: how to complete a revolutionary structure when its revolutionary creator is gone. Most of Gaudi's plans existed only in his mind. His workshop contained models and sketches, but they were fragments. The complete vision died with him. July 1936. Spain erupts into civil war. Barcelona falls under Republican control. For many revolutionaries, the Catholic Church represents the oppressive old order. Across the city, churches burn. On July 20th, a mob storms the construction site and breaks into Gaudi's workshop. What happens next is architectural murder. The irreplaceable plaster models, Gaudi's 3-dimensional blueprints, are systematically smashed. Drawings accumulated over decades set ablaze. By morning, the workshop resembles an archaeological dig. The building stands, but its future lies in ruins. For nearly 2 decades, the construction site stands eerily silent. Weeds push through the stones, birds nest in the unfinished towers, but not everyone has given up. Architect Francesc di Paolo Quintana begins a painstaking process, collecting fragments of Gaudi's smashed models. For years, he and a small team work in obscurity, piecing together the puzzle of Gaudi's mind. In 1952, 26 years after Gaudi's death and 16 years after the destruction, construction finally resumes. But the challenge is monumental: how to rebuild what was never built, how to complete what was never fully conceived. When the 1980s arrive, something revolutionary happens. Computer modelings transform the project. For the first time, engineers can fully analyze Gaudi's complex geometries. By the 1990s, 3D printing allows rapid prototyping, stone cutting becomes automated. What once took an artisan months now takes a machine days. In 2000, the central nave is finally enclosed, 118 years after construction began. A decade later, Pope Benedict XVI consecrates the basilica. The Sagrada Família becomes a functioning church for the first time. As construction accelerates, so does controversy. In 1986, sculptor Joseph Maria Subirachs begins work on a Passion facade. His angular modernist figures bear little resemblance to Gaudi's naturalistic style. This isn't Gaudi's church anymore, critics claim, it's an interpretation. Today, artificial intelligence helps extrapolate Gaudi's patterns. Stone blocks are cut by robotic arms with millimeter precision, but these technological advances can't resolve the fundamental issue. Without complete plans, every decision becomes an educated guess. And the world has taken notice. Over 4.5 million visitors annually, ticket revenues exceeding 120 million euros before the pandemic. What began as a poor man's church funded by parish donations has become a global tourist attraction financing its own completion. In 2021, the Tower of the Virgin Mary is completed. By 2023, the 4 Evangelist Towers stand finished. Only the tallest dedicated to Jesus Christ remains under construction. And the questions intensify: is this still Gaudi's church, or has it become something else entirely? Barcelona 2025. The Sagrada Família rises above the city, nearly complete after 143 years. Inside, Gaudi's genius reveals itself. Sunlight filters through stained glass, washing the stone in blues and greens. Columns branch like trees, holding up vaults that resemble forest canopies. The end is finally in sight, 2026, the centenary of Gaudi's death, the target date for completion. When finished, the Jesus Tower will rise 172.5 meters, the tallest church in the world. But the final question haunts the project: is this truly Gaudi's Sagrada Família? The question is uncomfortable, and we will never know with certainty. What we do know is this: parts of the church reflect Gaudi's direct vision. Other parts represent interpretations, extrapolations, and educated guesses. Some argue its uncertain authenticity is precisely what makes the Sagrada Família meaningful. A collaboration across time, spanning generations, embracing the limitations of human knowledge. Perhaps the question, is it correct, misses the point entirely. Perhaps the true miracle of the Sagrada Família lies not in the perfect fidelity to one man's vision, but in the collective human striving to understand and realize something beyond ourselves. The Sagrada Família is no longer simply Gaudi's church. It has become Barcelona's cathedral, Spain's monument, the world's inheritance. In 2026, the never-ending church will officially be declared complete. The cranes may come down, the scaffolding may be removed, but the questions will remain. In the age of certainty, the Sagrada Família stands as a monument to the unknown, a reminder that our greatest achievements may involve leaps of faith, educated guesses reaching toward the divine. Perhaps that is the most fitting tribute to Gaudi's genius, not a perfect reproduction of his vision, but a sacred conversation across time, a collaboration between the dead and the living, an acknowledgement that, like faith itself, some things must be pursued without the comfort of absolute certainty. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked the video and would like to support the channel, please like and subscribe. That stuff really helps the channel out. And if you have a friend that you think would also like this video, please feel free to send it their way. If you have any video topics you'd like us to cover in the future, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.